Right. Good evening. It's 6:34. I'll call to order this meeting of the Columbus Common Council, regular meeting for Tuesday, April 18th, 2017. When you're ready, could you please take the roll, Ann?
Hendrickson,
Here.
Kenny,
Here.
Malat,
Here.
Reed,
Here.
Rule,
Here.
Traxler.
Here.
Tom,
Here.
all present.
Thank you. If able, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This meeting has been posted as an open meeting in accordance with all state statutes and local ordinances. Next, we need to approve the agenda. Unless there's any changes or alterations, I'll take a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. Any discussion on the motion? Alder Kenny, did you have?
Nope, sorry.
Okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The agenda is approved. Number 5 is correspondence and communications. Tonight we have Ed Schellen signed up.
Hi, I'm Ed Schellen. I'm the State Farm agent just across the street here. And I'm not here to ask for anything, but just to say thank you to the council, to the city, for the support for the Good Neighbor Recognition event, volunteer recognition event, and also to the media for getting the information out there. It's going to be held from 6 to 8 o'clock at the Pavilion on Thursday evening, the 27th of April, which happens to be in the week of National Volunteer Week. And those that have not heard of it, it's simply a free music and refreshments for all the people who have served without compensation the community. And you've got people who have run the Red Cross blood drives. You've got people who have coached kids, people who have stepped up and taught Sunday school. I mean, you probably can't swing a jump rope around without running into somebody who has volunteered in the community. And it's volunteers like that that deserve some recognition. A couple months ago, we just came up with this idea, and it kind of reminds me of, and I don't know who I'm stealing this quote from, but there's nothing so powerful as an idea whose time has come. And I'm very heartened by all the businesses that have stepped forward. You may have seen an article in a newspaper this last Saturday. There's over 24 businesses that have stepped forward with door prizes and support for this event. And as you look at yourself in the mirror and your neighbors, see if you can qualify for that. Stop by from 6 to 8 o'clock. We'll have our hometown musician, Mark Croft, the Mark Croft Trio, performing, and just have a good time. And I thank everybody for their support. Thank you.
Thank you, Ed. On next to the consent agenda then. Tonight we have council minutes from April 3rd, 2017, certification of canvass for April 4th, 2017 spring election, Senior Citizens Advisory Board for March 2nd, 2017, Treasurer's Report for March 2017, a street closing permit for Dan Barr, private party at 221 Cardinal Drive, picnic license for the Columbus 4th of July organization from June 30th to July 7th, 2017, and also an amendment to a picnic license for St. Jerome's for May 13th, 2017 to add a wine license. Were there any items in the consent agenda that anyone wished to remove to vote on separately?
If I had some questions or comments about one or two of the items in there, how would I address those?
In the consent agenda? If you'd like to remove that item, we could discuss that separately.
Okay. Motion to remove the council minutes and the treasurer's report from the consent agenda, please.
Council minutes and the treasurer's report, number 1 and number 4. So we would need a motion to approve the consent agenda with the exclusion of number 1 and 4, and we deal with those separately.
So moved.
Have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda, pulling out the council minutes for April 3rd, 2017, and the treasurer's report for March 2017 to be dealt with separately. Can we do a voice vote on that, Ann? Okay, all those in favor, or is there any further discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, the consent agenda is approved, except for number 1 and number 4. I guess if you wanted to speak on number 1 and number 4, please go ahead.
I just was kind of reading through the minutes from the April 3rd meeting and then rewatched the video online about the meeting. I just wanted to kind of address that I think there could be a couple more comments in regards to the LED stop sign discussion with Darvin Fry when he was here, in regards to some comments and conversations made involving Patrick and DPW. I believe Davis was here as well, in regards to the clip-on lights. I'm not sure about what the process is to go about adding some additional notes to minutes from a previous meeting.
I believe we can amend the language, Ann?
The minutes are a record of the actions of the body. If those were informational things that were just there, but not actions, they don't need to be in the minutes. The minutes are not a long narrative of everything everyone said.
Okay.
It's just a record of actions.
So the actual action in there was that it's going to get pushed to this meeting, and any additional information from that meeting would be
Otherwise,
viewed.
every single item in the packet would become part of the minutes, and that's just not realistic.
Fair enough. Okay, thank you for the clarification, Ann.
Okay. Unless there's any further conversation, I'll entertain a motion to approve the council minutes from April 3rd, 2017.
So moved.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Then on to number 4, which is the treasurer's report. Did you have a comment on that?
Couple questions, yeah.
Okay.
I'm assuming with Kim not being here, answers might be a bit sparse from anybody else. Is that my understanding, Ann?
Depends on what your question is.
Okay. Looking at, I believe, we'll go to the general operating fund number 100. Jumping down to expenditures, adopted budget versus active through. Looking through here at kind of what is considered general government, I had a question as to what all falls under administration. I see the professional services for attorney and auditor pulled out separately. As far as I understand, would professional services for Jason and R&M be separate from administration of the city itself?
They're covered under Public Works.
Public
items.
Works, okay.
There are several. If you want to come in sometime, I can give you the chart of accounts for government operations.
Okay.
General government has specific things in it according to the state. Then there's public services, public safety. There's different categories, culture and recreation.
Okay.
Different things fall into them. And
Okay.
engineering and things fall under public.
Into
Works.
Public Works by itself, okay. And then, as far as I understand with Kim and her position, she's kind of running a dual position within the city.
No, she has a position. You can't have two. You
She
can
has
be
a single
one.
position,
Her position is city treasurer,
okay?
and when Boyd was here, he added city treasurer and finance director is just a name. It's so that if somebody wants to know what she does, these are things.
Okay, and she's a 100%
City
city
employee.
employee? Okay, not any sort of professional service on the side or,
No,
okay,
No, she's a city employee, like all of us except for Paul is a contracted employee. Well,
that's the reason why
contracted.
he's called out as professional services. And you get your own line, Paul.
I see
Well,
that. I
city
never noticed that
attorney
before.
is a separate category.
Yep.
You'll see assessor is a separate category.
Okay,
The things we provide, some cities employ full-time attorneys, some employ full-time assessors. We're too small.
okay.
Not really.
Consider that.
Then you're no
He's a
good
lobbyist,
judge.
too.
I think Paul sees his retirement plans coming up here pretty soon. Okay, thank you for the clarification. Sorry, guys, to kind of ask some silly questions right off the bat for you.
As a side note as well, if there are questions about these reports or the financial parts, this is something that we can always bring forward to the Finance Ad Hoc Policy Committee for further explanation, just so everyone understands that as well. That could be put on as an agenda item if you wish, so.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks, Mike.
And the consent agenda, these things are being placed on file. You're not approving it as far as free of errors and no alterations will ever be made. We're just placing it on file. Here's a snapshot of where we are financially at this point in time. On file. Here are the minutes, on file. Here are some licenses, on file.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Unless there's any further discussion of this, I'll entertain a motion to approve the treasurer's report.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second to approve the treasurer's report from March 2017. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. We have no unfinished business on the agenda for tonight, so we're on to new business. New business number 1 is to elect new city council president. In my 4 years being here, I think we've used several different methods, none of which involved a coin flip, which I think happened before me. So I think the council can choose its own rules as far as electing a council president. We can make it as simple as we want or as complicated as we want. So I think the first step would be making nomination or nominations, or however the council wants to proceed in doing so. So, is there any preference? Got a light, Andy?
Yeah, I would prefer to nominate, and then,
Just a
if
second.
there's more than one, I would like to make a nomination, and if someone else makes one, then we can vote them.
Sure. Is everyone okay with that?
That works for me.
You want single nominations, or do you want a nomination with a second?
Yeah.
Put a second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
There's a tie. We can-
Did you want to?
Yeah, I would like to nominate Reagan Rule.
Second.
Just wanted to pause a little bit.
First time in my life that needs to be clarified.
All right, so we have a motion and a second to nominate Reagan Rule as council president. Are there any other nominations? Okay. Seeing none, unless there's any further discussion. Is this a voice vote, Ann? Okay. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, congratulations goes to Reagan Rule.
Thank you, guys.
Double your pay.
No, double your workload, but not your pay.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you. Council. Okay, then on to number 2, which is a proclamation in honor of the 2017 Arbor Day in Columbus. There's a sample proclamation in our packet. Seems pretty straightforward. Patrick wanted to put this on to honor that event that we've been doing for several years now. Is there any questions about the proclamation? Does anyone want to read the proclamation? We have a wonderful orator in front of us, Ian Donahue, if anyone wants to hear it, or we can just approve it. It's up to the council. Entertain any motions. Ann? April 29th, 2017. I have some notes in my, I can read that. The 2017 Arbor Day celebration will take place on April 29th from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Pavilion in Fireman's Park at 1049 Park Avenue, with the tree ceremony held at 10 a.m. Anything further?
Nope, that's good.
Okay.
Take a motion.
Yes, entertain any motions.
A motion to accept the proclamation for the Arbor Day.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the proclamation for 2017 Arbor Day celebration in Columbus. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. On to number 3, we have another proclamation recognizing and thanking the volunteers in the city of Columbus. Again, I believe Volunteer Week is April 23rd through 29th. We do have many volunteers in the city of Columbus that help make this city as wonderful as it is. Did anyone wish to have this proclamation read, or are we okay?
How about the first part down to whereas? So people know what it is.
The first, you want to read that, Rod?
Not actually.
Okay.
I can read it.
The first, okay, go ahead, Trina.
All right. I'll read the whole thing. It's pretty short.
Thank you.
Wow.
A proclamation honoring the many volunteers for the City of Columbus. In observance of National Volunteer Week, April 23rd to 29th, the City of Columbus wishes to recognize and sincerely thank the hundreds of individuals who devote their time and efforts to make this community a better place. The City of Columbus will specifically designate April 23rd to 29th, 2017 as Columbus Volunteer Week. Whereas volunteerism is an essential part of our community's tradition and spirit, and whereas it is even more in evidence that our city's greatest resource is its people, and whereas all citizens of Columbus benefit from the deeds of these selfless and dedicated individuals, therefore, I wish to honor and thank the dedicated citizens of Columbus who give so freely of their valuable time, energy, and abilities by proclaiming this week Columbus Volunteer Week.
You want me to read the last
Yes.
paragraph? Now therefore, I, Michael Tell, Mayor of the City of Columbus, Wisconsin, call all citizens of Columbus to help renew and sustain the spirit and vitality of our great city by committing a portion of their time in addressing the needs of their communities through voluntary action. I additionally thank our volunteers for their contribution to the city. Thank you very much. Thank you. Unless there's any further discussion, I'll take a motion to approve the proclamation.
Motion to approve the proclamation.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, the motion passes. Thank you. And thank you for reading that, Alder Reed. On to number 4, consider and take action on U.S. Cellular cell tower lease and right of entry for testing for the siting of a cell tower in Kiwanis Park. This is obviously an issue we've dealt with at the Committee of the Whole for the past several months. This has, I think we had the final discussion at the last Committee of the Whole meeting. Paul, did you have anything that you wanted to add to this?
Two very brief comments. The lease that is in your packet is the final version, I believe, and it does reflect the base rent of $850 per month, which I believe is what was agreed upon at the last meeting. The two things I wanted to point out is that the first part of this ground lease is actually an option given to the cellular company so that they can do their due diligence and investigate the area and do their testing and make sure that it's a suitable site for the tower in the first place. And in section 1, I made a change so that the option payment that they're going to make is also $850. That's a one-time payment. And that, in the original lease, the two sums coincided with each other, so I made that change as well, and I think Todd was okay with that, I think. Was he behind me?
Yep, he's signifying. Excellent. Yes.
Okay, and the second thing I wanted to point out is the council as a whole did not spend very much time on the right of entry and testing document. That is the document that goes along during the option period and basically gives the company the ability to enter the property in the first place. So that is simply, it's more of a procedure thing than anything else, but it allows them to go on and do their actual testing during the option period. And that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Andy, did you have a question?
Yeah, I had a quick question. Do we know, do you know approximately when, if everything goes okay, you would start building the tower?
Please.
I had a concern from a couple citizens regarding a softball tournament that's held at that complex Memorial Day weekend and the last week of July, I believe.
The way we sit right now, there'll be no worries that we won't have our state and federal approvals by then.
Okay.
We will, once we secure the local permitting, we'll get the lease squared away here. The survey was, we walked the site yesterday. We'll get a survey, incorporate that in the lease, get that signed, get zoning secured here. Then we move on to state and federal, and that's 4 to 6 months type of deal plus. So
Okay.
it should not affect any of your games or anything like that.
Okay.
Okay. That's all I had.
Kenny?
Paul, you mentioned access to the area to do your testing and kind of initial stuff. I'm assuming that's a 24/7, 365. They have access once they can get in there and start working on it, or is there any sort of restrictions as opposed to time? I mean, obviously they probably won't be drilling at midnight, but what sort of hammer does the city have, I guess?
There are no specific guidelines as far as time goes in the right of entry or in the option period. And I'm going to presume that that all the work will be done during regular business hours for the most part, and Todd might be able to explain how they do that, but there is nothing in particular in here that would prohibit that except for the city to
I'm assuming
basically-
city ordinance for,
Well, yeah, you do have the ordinance about, making noise at night and stuff like that. That's always available to you.
is this location far enough away from a residence that might be outside the scope of the municipal
No.
code for that?
No,
Okay. So that would be our kind of controlling factor to make sure that they aren't out there at some oddball hour.
right.
Okay. I had a couple extra questions too, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
In the right of first refusal language you had in here, Paul, information you talked about, where is it here? The city of U.S. Cellular, in the event of the city ever declared U.S. Cellular in default under the notice requirements, U.S. Cellular has time to cure any default. What sort of time is that? 1 day, 1 year, a century? Is there any sort of controlling factor as to when they go into default? And what is kind of the actionable time frame for that?
Well, the language that is in the lease agreement right now does not have that default provision built into it. That is one of the issues that we discussed at the committee of the whole on several different occasions, and basically the company would not agree to having any kind of default language put in there for that specific section. So there isn't anything in there that governs the right of first refusal right now.
Okay, so clearly the decision was made by U.S. Cellular to not have that language in here.
Right, they don't want that in there, and the council has acquiesced, for lack of a better.
Okay, sorry to be rehashing some of this. I'm fresh off the boat here, so.
Okay.
And then for clearing of land, should they terminate the lease, and I guess kind of the same point of when they get there and actually start building the site itself, language in regards to restoration, gravel for the lot, seeding, mulching, e-matting, things along those lines. I didn't really see any sort of information there about that. I don't want to see them leaving a big pile of mud someplace. It's kind of have issues.
They are to restore the land to the condition it was in prior to the work beginning, basically. So, as you see it today, and there's an additional provision in there that if they put concrete footings in the ground, they're gonna take those down 3 feet under the surface of the ground.
When you put your footings in, how deep are you guys expecting to put a footing in for a tower that size?
It all depends on the geotech.
Okay.
And that's one of the tests they do, they check the soils.
Assuming worst case scenario.
They can either be caissons, they can be mat foundations. I really can't tell you, especially, I was just out there yesterday, talked to Davis, and he made a comment about how the soils are.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea. I wouldn't even want to speculate on what type of a foundation would be there. If you're talking out in the farm field where it's solid ground, just give you a baseline.
Yeah.
For a tower that big, I'd ballpark it at probably about 12 feet deep.
Okay.
Worst case, and that would be approximately an 8 foot by 8 foot, 3 foot thick slab with a pier coming up out of the ground. And then they would take that down.
To 3 feet below.
Yes.
Okay. And there's no concern that the city has of leaving a large mass of potential concrete underneath there for, I know there was conversation about future sewer, sanitary, electrical, utilities, anything along those lines. There's no way we can work anything into the contract to have them remove 100% of what they put in, since if they put it in, they should take it out.
That is an issue for you to decide. I mean, we've reached the point, normally in a regular commercial type construction lease, they would take it down to ground level, period. So the 3 feet is something that's a little bit out of the normal, for lack of a better way to put it. The term is that, I mean, that's where the lease has been negotiated to this point.
Yeah. I guess I just want to check and make sure that's something that everybody's comfortable with at this time, knowing that DPW might be in there in the future or somebody else for something.
I believe that issue was discussed with both Davis and Eric, and neither had any significant concern
Okay.
at the time. And of course, you can't gauge what's going to be 20, 30, 40 years from now, but for now, that wasn't a problem.
Okay. If they're happy, I'm happy. Thank you, Todd.
Yep.
Any further questions?
I just have a question for Part C. I'm just confused by the initial lease option part for like the $850. Is that $850 for a total of 18 months of prep time? I'm just not sure how to read it.
Oh, no, it's $850 one time. You're talking about page 2?
Yeah.
Yeah, the option payment is $850 one time, which gives the company the right to be on the property, do their testing, so on and so forth. And if they decide, at the end of the 18-month period, the company will have two choices. One is go forward, and then the lease will kick in. And two is, this isn't gonna work, and then they clean up and they walk away.
Okay, that was my question, was if that fee was for some kind of pre-lease.
I think that's exactly what I would call it,
Okay.
is a kind of a pre-lease, good faith payment
Okay.
for the ability to walk on and start looking around.
Okay, thank you for clarifying.
Any further questions? Okay, I'll entertain any motions then at this point.
I'll make a motion to approve the US cell tower lease and right of entry for testing.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the U.S. cell tower lease and right of entry for testing for the siting of a cell tower in Kiwanis Park. Ann, I assume we should probably take a roll on this?
Kenny? Aye. Malat?
Aye.
Reed?
Aye.
Rule?
Aye.
Traxler?
Aye.
Hendrickson?
Aye.
Unanimous?
Thank you. On to number 5 then. Consider and take action on amendments to existing crop leases with Sunview Dairy LLC and Thomas Heyman. We did discuss this at the last committee of the whole meeting. I believe Patrick has reached out to the people that had the current leases on these properties and that they will be continuing those leases. Any questions on this?
Were we extending the term
Yes.
to the 2021? Okay.
There are two small changes to the lease agreements as they were previously drafted, and number one is they're now basically a four-year lease instead of a one-year lease. And that made me change the language in section 3 of each of the leases for the payment. So now the smaller lease is a one-time payment due on the first or in May of every year, and the other one is a two-time payment due twice a year. So I just extended that out. I also put in paragraphs 13 and 14, which deals with default, because prior years there was a one-year lease, there was no concern, but now you have a 4-year lease, so you do have some in case there's a failure to pay or something like that.
Rod, did you have a question?
Yeah, does that mean that we are not allowed to develop that land for 4 years?
That would be correct. Yes, the lease, I mean, you can, if they agree to give up their lease, that certainly would open up the land, but otherwise they have the right for the next 4 years.
Any other questions?
Why did we switch to 4 years?
I think that the main reason for this is to be consistent and to match up with the one other lease that you have, which is which goes out to 2021. So to make all three of them for the same period of time. I don't think there's any other reason aside from that.
How difficult would it be to retract the lease if we were to find a buyer for the lands?
Well, if you find a buyer for the land, there will be two choices. Choice number one will be that the lease will continue and the buyer will honor the lease. Choice two is that the leaseholder will have to be paid out.
I just wanted to comment. I mean, these are very small pieces of land. I don't really see a big development going into any of these places to cause issues on our end.
problem that we've run into historically is that basically, to follow up what Andrew was saying, is that they're basically unusable pieces of land, even for farmers, which is kind of why we're in the position that we're in here, so.
And I believe at least farming them, there's something happening. It's
Right.
not just going wild and overrun with brush, so. Any further questions? All right, I'll entertain any motions then.
Motion to approve the crop leases for 2017.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to take action, or to approve the amendments to existing crop leases with Senview Dairy LLC and Thomas Heyman. And could we take a roll on this?
Malat,
Aye.
Reed,
Aye.
Rule,
Aye.
Troxler.
Aye.
Hendrickson,
Abstain.
Kenny.
Okay, on to number 6. Consider and take action on applications for operator licenses for Yal Sumberg and Evan Stint. Were there any additional, Ann?
No, just those.
Okay, just those two. Any questions on this? Alder Kenny?
Operating licenses as approved, I've seen on prior agendas. What exactly is that pertaining to?
So that people that are working in the various gas stations, restaurants, bars that have a liquor license can serve the liquor.
Okay, so these are any sort of liquor,
So if you got a job working at Quick Trip, we would expect you to come in and get a license so you could sell the beer there.
okay. So basically anybody in town who is serving
Anybody
any sort of
who's
alcohol
working
or
in
working
town,
in town.
regardless of if they live here or not. And in an establishment where they're selling liquor, must have an operator's license or they can't sell.
Okay. Thank you.
Any further questions? Seeing none, I'll take a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the applications for the operator licenses.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the operator licenses for Yal Sumberg and Evan Stint. Do we want a roll call on that, Ann? Thank you.
Reed.
Aye.
Rule.
Aye.
Troxler.
Aye.
Hendrickson.
Aye.
Kenny.
Aye.
Malat.
Aye.
Unanimous.
Thank you. On to number 7. Consider and take action on claims in the amount of $134,219.71. Were there any requests or discussion on the claims? Yes, go ahead.
Couple questions. It says through April 11th of 2017. What is the, I think I see these on basically once a month, every other meeting, so I'm assuming this is a 1 month claims, is that correct?
It's all the claims that have come in since the previous council meeting.
Okay,
We have bills coming in all the time, and we have a cutoff date where everybody's got to get all their bills in. We process them all. That's what goes to the council meeting. The next packet will start with the 12th of April and go through a couple of days before the next council meeting.
okay.
So the end of April.
Going to page, I don't think there's actually any page numbers, a couple pages in. Looking here at the breakdown for Rupert and Milky services to the city. All of them are dated the 4th of April, so I'm assuming that they submitted one large bill to the city for all services rendered. Couple things kind of stood out here to me. $2,000 for council meeting attendance. I'm assuming you said obviously for the range of this claims is 1 month since the last one that was approved.
It could be connected with specific task orders too.
Okay.
Some of the task orders, when you see them come through, you'll see that attendance at meetings, doing inspections, there's all kinds of things that are required by each task order,
Mhm.
connected with each project. So as they go along, however their billing is set up, they'll submit a bill covering
Okay.
a certain period of time. Not necessarily the same period that we're paying
That we
them
may
for,
have it,
but their
okay.
bill came in
With all
for
of that
this-
prior to.
Yeah.
Is there any way that going forward for some of these claims or some of these maybe larger ticket items, we could be receiving more information in the packet? Who would we talk to
Like
about
what-
getting that?
what-
Seeing kind of a breakdown of what that
You can come
might,
in anytime
Okay.
and look at the stack of bills. I've got the check sitting on my desk right now. After the meeting, I'll be signing them. It
Okay.
goes with a stack of invoices and purchase orders. You can look right through them if you wish.
Okay. I'm assuming when this is put in, it was up, so this was all, PO date of the 4th. For all these items in here, is there any way to break out the PO dates into the actual dates of the bills, or is it just the date that's entered? I guess I'm looking at this and seeing a lot going out in one payment with not a lot of information that kind of breaks down. And I know, for example, looking at one of the previous task orders for R&M and how they break down their hours, there is a city engineer meeting cost, and then there's a Jason as an engineer 7, I believe what it is, cost.
We have a contract with them that sets out some of those terms.
Okay,
And then each of the task orders has the amount that each position is paid for each project.
okay,
This is your first meeting, so you haven't seen a lot of that stuff.
Yes.
But every contract that comes in, you see, and they always attach a wage sheet, a schedule sheet,
Mhm.
and a list of all the tasks that are gonna be performed for each task order. Same as we get with other.
okay. Flipping over to the next page, there's a page number, page 4, about a couple down, number 13 for R&M, $430 for preparing the task orders for the city. So as far as I understand, we're paying R&M to develop the bill for us to pay them for their work, correct?
Well, it's gonna be pretty hard for us to put together what detail,
I 100% agree, but
Yeah.
I guess,
It's all, it's.
is that part
none
of
this
a
is-
task order
this-
as well?
None of this is stuff that's coming in that we're not expecting to see. When we get the task order, it lists out all the functions that they're gonna be doing.
Okay, so
There's
at
a
the next task
contract
order,
with-
one of the items might be that time spent producing administrative billing to the city would be one that could be removed from that, so we don't pay them to then have us pay them for future work.
Well,
If that was
We'll have
a,
a chance to look at the task order
okay,
when
but
the
it's
next one
information that comes out on the task orders, obviously.
Yeah, well, somebody has to, from their place, has to put it together.
Okay,
DOT charges us the same stuff. We just got a bill from them where they charge us for all that kind of stuff.
slightly different though, as far as I understand, when it comes to billing from DOT versus a private corporation like that. I guess again, kind of continuing through, there's a couple other locations in here where there's just kind of chunks in regards to bills from them. I guess my greater point, let me check my last one. My greater point is that there's upwards of $35,000, almost $40,000 paid out to R&M in one task order. If this is theoretically 1 month worth, we're looking at upwards of
No,
$400,000 or
this is- This is a
$500,000.
progress billing on a project. Which task order is it? Did you say, and I missed it?
No, I'm just saying, looking at what's in here and then looking at the breakdown of the treasurer's report, there's really no way to tell at what point where are we at with actual money spent and paid out
You
to
can if you come in and
R&M.
look at the bills that go with that.
Okay.
They're-
If
they
I wanted to
don't
have that
bill
information
monthly.
in a package so that everybody on the council was aware of that without having to come into the office and look at bills, is that
Well, we've
possible?
evolved to the point where the council looks at the register of invoices, and if they have a question about one, they call us and let us know, and we print it out. We've gone through this at varying degrees of detail many times, and right now, if they want to see the detail on it, they know right now we've got, I think, 7 contracts out with Rupert Milky. Half of them are for sewer, a lot of them for the work that's going on now.
Obviously.
Progress billings are not unusual to get on any one or all of them in a month. We may not get a bill on 1 or 2 of the projects for 2 or 3 months, and then
Okay.
as a task completes, we'll get a bill. So I don't know which one you're referring to, but it might be one of the ones out at the sewer plant that they're working on.
Okay.
And this is a progress billing on that. There are some large ticket items.
Yes. I guess, motion to remove all of R&M's payments from the claims packet, open to discussion with the council until further review of task orders, bills, information from them, just to make sure that we are aware of what's being paid out at what time. They do have a lot of work in town here.
There's a motion on the floor to approve the claims packet less are you looking at the $22,525?
I'm looking at $22,525.13 and $4,389.15, and $6,860.43. And I might have missed one or two in there. I don't have my calculator on me, so I can't necessarily add all of them. I apologize.
So you want to remove these and discuss them where? In like the ad hoc meeting or in the committee of the whole, or what are you looking to do?
Just kind of have it, make sure we review that, kind of see where, like I said, looking at what was in here for the claims versus what's in the treasurer's report, there's really no linking of any information. How much has been paid right now for what? And that's just, for something that's being sent out, I mean, like Ann said, there's 7 running contracts right now with them. How much are we paying them? How much has been paid for what items, what's coming up? For a budget for a city that's not that much, I believe that we should be aware of a larger ticket item. And if Paul was charging us $4,000 an hour, I'd definitely have him submitting a little more information as well. I'm sure he's a wonderful lawyer, and would charge us a pretty penny as well. So, I guess any vendor that's submitting a large ticket, multiple contracts, multiple bills. So, and I'm
are you
not
saying that from now on, you don't want to see invoices from anyone who bills this large amount of monies per month?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I want to pull these out of the current claims packet so that additional information. I know I did make a request of Kim today, and she sent me some more information, but it's obviously a large amount of volume of information so take a second to review and see, and then request some more information in the claims packet or in the treasurer's report so that everybody's aware of where it's all going. And I mean, and if the council disagrees, I guess nobody can second it and we can move on. I just wanted to bring it to attention, something that I think was important.
Well, I guess I'd have a procedural question to build off of Andy's, which is what happens with the issue of the R&M task orders then? Where do they go to be addressed and either approved or denied or?
So if I can,
Please.
I think that having a process, maybe a review, a committee in the ad hoc would be a ideal spot to do it, to do exactly what you're saying, be able to have a running total on these different projects to give whoever wants it some comfort as far as what's being billed to each contract. To me, removing the claim from the packet before we do that, it would indicate a lack of trust that those monies are being spent according to the contract. So I, for one, don't feel that way. I think we should pay them, but I do think we should address your concern and make that something we can do at the ad hoc, where we can build a process around and maybe a report that Kim can give us that simplifies the mountain of information that you probably got today. I had similar questions when I started as well. Being able to match apples to oranges. And I know you're familiar with construction billing, so your insight and your bringing this to our attention, I think, is valuable. I just don't think, personally, removing the invoices from the claims would be the way I would want to go with that. I think they should get paid with the claims.
I would concur with that. I think it's a worthwhile endeavor. I just don't know if this is the proper procedure for it.
Yes.
So if we could further flesh this out in the ad hoc committee, if that's the way we all choose to go. Again, I think that'd be a worthwhile pursuit, but I'm with Regan on this one. I'd say for now I would be in favor of just moving the claims packet forward and kind of developing a policy or procedure at a different time in a different venue.
It sounds like there's enough support to at least get this on the agenda for the next ad hoc for discussion about reporting.
And I'd be more than comfortable with that.
Okay. Good. Did you want to withdraw your motion, or does it still?
Motion withdrawal.
Okay, then I'll entertain any other motions.
I'll make a motion to take action on claims in the amount of $134,219.71.
I have a motion and a second to approve the claims. Any further discussion on the motion? Okay. Ann, would you please take the roll?
Rule,
Aye.
Traxler.
Aye.
Hendrickson,
Aye.
Kenny,
Aye.
Malat,
Aye.
Reed,
Aye.
unanimous.
Thank you. Okay, we're on to report of city officers. Obviously, Patrick is home with the flu tonight, so, yeah, unless does anyone have anything to add up here? Okay, seeing none, I wanted to mention a few things about area events and do a recap. The annual Easter egg hunt was successful this year. We had great weather. The event was well attended. This year offered the addition of a flashlight egg hunt on Saturday evening for the first time. So thanks to Amy Jo Myers and the rec department, volunteers, sponsors, and all those who attended to make this year's annual egg hunt a success. Also a reminder of the Columbus Arbor Day Festival set for Saturday, April 29th from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Fireman's Park Pavilion. And thanks to everyone who helps to volunteer and organize that event. Also a reminder, this year's Columbus Area Business Recognition Luncheon will be held at the Fireman's Park Pavilion on Thursday, April 27th, beginning at 11:45 a.m. I also wanted to take a minute to welcome and congratulate new District 3 Alderperson Matthew Kenny. It's nice to have you here. And also congratulations to the new council president, Reagan Rule. Congratulations. Also, I need to thank Kelly Crombie for his past 2 terms served as mayor and for his commitment and passion for helping guide the city of Columbus. I understand and respect the difficulty of his decision in choosing to step away after 4 years as mayor. I appreciate his guidance and also for his faith and confidence in me as I find my footing in my new role as mayor. It requires much more than simply moving over one seat during a meeting. I appreciate very much Mayor Crombie's willingness to advise me in my transition in recent weeks. I wish him well as he begins his first term as a Columbus School Board District Board member. I thank him for his obvious dedication to the community, the time, personal sacrifice, and contributions through his city service to the city of Columbus. Also, thanks to friends, neighbors, and the citizens that call Columbus home, and for all the support I have received in my past 4 years as a council member. I believe that having served 4 years will help provide a solid foundation as I enter this term as the new mayor-elect. And most importantly, I need to thank my wife, Stacy. I doubt either of us ever had the notion 17 years ago when we bought a house in Columbus that we would ever be having a conversation about what shirt I might wear to my first meeting as the mayor of the city we settled in. And to my children for their sacrifice, the missed reading times, soccer practices, school activities that occur while I have city meetings, and for allowing me to pursue something I truly love doing, which is public service. Again, I deeply appreciate the opportunity and privilege to serve as mayor of the city of Columbus and look forward to continuing working together with city staff, city council members, and to continue to encourage citizens to engage and to participate in maintaining and improving our quality of life together here in Columbus. Thank you. No applause needed. Unless there's anything else, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
A motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We stand adjourned. We will return in about 5 minutes for the committee of the whole meeting then. Thank you.